On YouTube, and we're live on Facebook. There we are.
Can you see me?
Yes, I can, but you'll have to talk loud from over there.
Okay.
Oh, and another thing, I'm gonna share it to your profile real quick, so.
I'll give you a moment.
How's it going, everybody? We're about to start. I'm just sharing it to her profile on Facebook. Live now. Hey everybody, she's right there in the background. How are you all doing? Hope you're doing great. We're getting going here. Just making sure we're live before we get started. Okay, looking good.
Are we there?
Yep.
Okay. Hi everybody. I'm Clare Cooley, and this is the Emerald Lady on the Creativity Show. These are the live reads from my memoir, Incandescence Rising Above Darkness. My technical assistant, my son, Bodhi, the movie maker, my Creativity Show channel has these live reads and videos, and his YouTube channel is Bodhi the Movie Maker. My YouTube channel, The Creativity Show. You can see my live reads anytime after we do them, and share them with anyone you like, and I really appreciate that, and so does he. His live reads are 4 o'clock on Saturdays, mine are 2 o'clock on Saturdays. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the Minnesota State Art Boards for granting me awarding me a grant to do these live reads, which is wonderful in so many ways. It feels like a virtual visit with you. It's a wonderful way to connect with you over these stay safe and serene social distancing times. It's also ecological and economical to connect this way, and I intend to do it for the rest of my life. It's been a dream of mine since way before my son was born, and before he asked me to collaborate with him, him being a movie maker, storyteller, me being a multimedia artist, author, creativity coach. He named us Mother Son Productions, and that website you can also see our videos of restoring the Emerald Lady and creative projects and all kinds of things. So thanks for being here, and today we're going to go upstairs and show you the guest room that I like to call the Forever Spring Room, and have a Happy New Year little moment up there talking about what I'm grateful for this year and what I'm looking forward to next year. And I hope you have much to be grateful for and much to look forward to. So let's go on up to the guest room.
Sure, let me unplug us from here. And
he has to make us portable. I think on the last live read you got to see this invention of his. He's got 2 cameras, phones that have cameras. He's got a on camera light. He's got a platform that my laptop is on, all on this
I can't see the laptop screen, so you let me know if I got you not framing you properly.
I can see me, which is a double-edged sword. Come on up. Here's the space I like to call little space, big space, with my outer space, a couple of originals and a bunch of prints that we do here at the Emerald Lady. museum quality, limited edition, numbered and signed. Turn on some lights in here. This is the Forever Spring Room, which these long winters make especially wonderful to have a space. There's a massage pad under here, and the room is full of my warbler and wildflower collection with my little hand-painted dowel design, and one original warbler over here, so you can see how big the originals are, and the collection of 26 in the room. And it keeps it spring, forever spring. And here's a pillow I did, stencils from the warblers, inspired by the drawings, and stenciled this pillow to go in the room, and these stencils of grasses here. So it's always a cheerful place in here, and it serves as a guest room. So I thought this would be a nice place to read my list of what I'm grateful for this year. Before my tradition, at the end of a year, as the new year is about to launch, I like to acknowledge all that I am thankful for in my life. So may this year leave you as well, being grateful for this year and what the beauty and value it brought to your life, and may this new year give you lots to look forward to. So I'm grateful for health, a safe home to live and work in that I get to share with you, and my enthusiasm for creativity and its healing and life enhancing and all of that. And I'm grateful for the natural beauty all around us, the lake and the rivers and the trees, and this daily walks in this historic neighborhood, which is always, the architecture here is always very inspiring. I'm grateful for the community here that appreciates us and each other and the arts, which is why we selected Duluth as our home, and why I stayed in my 20s and started my career here when I came to see where my father was born. And people suggested that I would be appreciated here, and I do feel very appreciated here, and I'm grateful for that. And I'm so glad that my son also selected Duluth, and so he can't be mad at me over the long he picked it too. And I got one little story. He had to come here 3 times before he said, "I thought you were exaggerating, romanticizing how nice people are here, but you didn't exaggerate. They are that nice." And so he picked it too, and now we're working peacefully and productively and playfully here. So I love that. And I'm grateful for the healthy, mutually supportive relationships in my life and in his life. And Bodhi asking me to work with him toward our separate and mutual artistic goals has been extremely wonderful. My mother was an artist and very supportive and encouraging, and I love passing that on to Bodhi, and as a creativity coach to others, and love seeing him inspiring others as well. So I am very grateful for, as I said, our peaceful, productive, and playful partnership. Being able to stay curious through continually challenging myself creatively. I'm grateful for that. and continuing to learn and being able to do work that inspires me regularly, often, that I am extremely grateful for. And I worked hard to get here where I get to focus on my art, what I think is the best I can give the world, encouraging others to live in harmony with themselves, with each other, with nature. So I am also deeply grateful for the response my work gets, that it helps others, whether it's my writing or my design or my painting, or just my creative curiosity, and how that curiosity creates dopamine in our brain. So it's a happiness enhancer. And I just heard that in a podcast this morning, so I thought perfect timing to pass that on. Feeling connected to you through these virtual visits is something I'm extremely grateful for. I can feel you, and I can feel your appreciation, and I love your questions and responses, and it's deeply gratifying. And the grants and the community support, and the patrons and individual support encouraging me to keep going is something I can't even express in words how grateful I am for all of that. And living an economical and ecological artistic dream life, and being, in my small humble way, an example for others, I am deeply grateful for. And my goals for this next year, what I'm looking forward to, is to continue challenging myself. I am so grateful for this grant, having me get in front of the camera and share my readings from my memoir. It's been very challenging, difficult at times, terrifying at times, but just equally as fulfilling and rewarding. And so I'm really glad that the universe figures out a way to keep challenging me to share my sensitivity, my vulnerability, everything that makes me me, and hopefully encouraging you to share what makes you you. The more diverse any ecosystem is, including humanity, the healthier it is. So each of us is unique, and each of us have something beautiful and meaningful to share with the world. So I hope you do, and in this next year, I'm very much looking forward to continuing to challenge myself, and hopefully empower and inform and inspire some of you to do the same. Let's go downstairs and read a story. Oh, I had to share my unbelievably cute little turquoise purse that goes with my turquoise kimono, that I put I like having my own rituals in life, and the end of the year is what am I grateful for? The beginning of the year is what am I looking forward to? What do I want to achieve this year? And more strength, confidence, courage to share what I have that can help others. And so the more feedback I get about what helps you, well, the better I can get at being helpful. And that's what I want. So let's go on downstairs.
Let's do it. You can turn off.
How about, shall I?
Yeah.
I'll turn off lights and follow you down.
Alrighty. I'll take them on a nice little tour of the space. Little space, big space. It's a little space, but it's filled with images of cosmic distances, epic vistas. So big spaces in the little space. All right, I'll follow you down the stairs.
Yes, making a little space into a big space by putting expansive art in it. And then here's a big space that then we make little by having all of these crane vignettes throughout.
Little windows into other worlds. Alrighty.
Okay.
Now let me set this back on the tripod, and we'll turn you guys around in a minute. I gotta get the cameras repositioned. All right. Bear with us while we plug back in now that we have come back to our reading space. All right. Just getting a few things set. A few minor adjustments. For those of you who don't know, we're going live on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, and we're doing it with 3 separate devices, 3 separate cameras, and it makes for a very interesting setup. Okay, well, let me pan down a little bit, or tilt down, and get that with all of these devices.
So as those of you who have been at any of the other live reads or have the book know, my memoir has 68 pieces of my art in it.
Yeah, how about you go back like
Sure.
5 feet, and then we can see it easier.
Yeah, and so this is Damisel cranes, and this is in my book before the story I'm going to read today, which is Passing Through Walls. And then I'll share the piece of art that's after this story. I put the art in my book because creative reverie and learning through creating, staying curious, is how I maintain happiness, and meditating on natural beauty and natural order gave me tranquility through some really hard stuff in my life, which is why I wrote my memoir. Is so many people suggested it could help others, hearing my stories help them. So that's why I wrote them. Well, that's why I published them. I wrote them to heal myself. I shared them to help individuals, and I published them hoping to help a lot of people. So, so my story today is about a 28-car pileup that I went through of all places years ago, but above the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco.
Can I help you with that? Is that?
Why don't we just
You can lay it down.
why don't you lay it down in the gallery, and this too, so it doesn't slide. I took it out of the frame so it wouldn't be reflectant, the glass. So we are Mother-Son Productions. We're not a big production studio. We do it all ourselves. I like to call us the DIY Not Duo. And so there's a little bit of shuffling and real life. So here's my book. And like I said, there's 68 pieces of my art in it and 52 stories, all short. I like short stories. Respect for everybody has a busy life and many responsibilities and demands, so I like to distill the moments in my life I learned something important from epiphanies, moments of expansion, to as few words as possible to share it with others. And so they're all pretty much very short stories. And there's also 40 photographs of me doing all kinds of different art over the years. I started all self-taught, but I started as a dancer and then taught a curriculum in my 20s that I wrote called Dancing into the Arts, when I was asked by 9 people in one day to do that, to teach. And I got to teach every grade level, first through universities and graduate nurses and therapists. It was extremely rewarding, and it turned out it was my way to become a student was by teaching. And my way to go to school was by being a teacher in schools. So I love to not ever ceasing to learn. So these virtual visit live reads are a great way for me to learn how to be of better service to others and fulfill my potential.
Yeah.
So
real quick, I'll read the comments, and just so people know, if you're viewing it on the event page, you're probably viewing it through the Creativity Show, and if you're viewing it on Claire's profile, then you're viewing it through Clare Cooley. And so the comments are divided between the two depending on where you're watching it from. And so Eris Vafias said rituals are great. And Erica Bree said, Happy New Year, grateful for your time and for all the readings. Very fortunate to watch this.
thank you, thank you, thank you. Happy New Year to both of you and all of you, and thank you for reaching out. I really appreciate it. It's so wonderful to know that we can connect across the world, and we can, be of one heart, and that love does connect us all. So
Right, and then the other comments are Jay Stoneburner said, absolutely beautiful work.
thank you so much, Jay. I really, really appreciate it. And so is your work, and thank you for the lovely gifts that you brought over that Bodhi asked for. They're wonderful. I love the tote bag, the crane on it, and the coasters. It's all gorgeous. Thank you.
And yeah, I'll be showing those off to the founding members next week. So Jackie Buck said, lovely. Hi, Jackie.
Hi, Jackie. Thank you.
Claire Boisano said, love your forever spring room. Thanks for the tour and positive messages.
Thank you very, very much, big sis. It's so like me to have a woman who's actually a cousin who volunteered to be my big sister, who has the same first name as me. So if you guys see us say big sis, little sis on social media, now you know the story. And thank you, Claire, for volunteering to be my big sis.
And she said, Happy New Year to you and Bodhi. Happy New Year,
Happy
Claire.
New Year to you and yours.
And Doug York said, you are quite the fabulous woman.
Wow, thank you, Doug, and I really appreciate that. It's interesting how much fear I've had to face to be in front of a camera, to share my stories, to share my style sense, to share the jewelry I make, to, as a woman in this world, all women understand this from their own perspective. We're afraid to be beautiful, we're afraid not to be beautiful, we're afraid to share what we think, we're afraid to speak up, we're afraid to not speak up. So just being myself is so liberating, and letting go of fear is so lightening me up. And so thank you for your sacred witnessing of me getting more courageous and self-loving, and hopefully helping you do the same.
All right, so you'd like to begin the reading?
Yes, that'd be good.
All right, give me a minute to get it.
So Bodhi uses my laptop to put my story on because I'm definitely not going to memorize them. That's not one of my talents, is memorization.
Do you want to do the
No,
intro?
we can go through that. We did that, and we'll get right to the story. But I'm so fortunate to have this working partnership with someone who understands and likes technology. I'm a very hands-on. I like to make everything with my hands and my heart. But technology, that's not my fascination, but I really appreciate it. So I'm so grateful we're a team and we work together to be able to get this out to you. So
Do you want to do this part about the book?
I think I've said all this already, so let's just, oh, except for that you can order my ebook online. The print book is in color, which I suggest because of all the art in it, but there's also a black and white version, and you can order them through your local bookstores or any major bookstore or online at
Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and pretty soon Target. It was on Target, but they changed their system.
okay, Amazon and
Walmart.
Okay.
Yeah. So they can.
And you can order it on the internet as well.
Yeah, and you can go into your local bookstore and ask for it, and they'll order it for you if you want to patronize your local bookstore.
Yes, exactly. And so there we go, and all that's in the links.
Yes, you can find every place to get the book on incandescencebook.com.
Incandescencebook.com, which Bodhi created for me. And so Amazon Kindle, and Kobo, where you can get the ebook. And if you give this live stream stars, it helps support this work, and we really appreciate it. And
you have to do that through the Creativity Show.
Through the Creativity Show YouTube channel, right?
No, through Facebook.
Through Facebook Creativity Show. You see, I'm not the techie.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. And do forgive me in advance if I miss something someone puts out there, because he's got me everywhere now and I don't even know how to get to those places. So I hope sharing my stories and art can help you strengthen your connection to your creativity, your confidence to express it, and your courage to share it. Creativity does help us feel joy, enhance our lives, solve problems, and heal wounds. Writing is healing as we express feelings and stimulate our immune system. That is fact, so not just my opinion. So you saw the Damascene cranes in winter before this story, chapter 48, passing through walls. I think I'm going to stand because it's
Okay, let
feels
me check
better.
the framing.
He's checking framing.
Yep.
Okay. Here we go. The dawn has a stillness, infusing the sky, mountains, and air with otherworldliness. The rarity of sparkling white on the mountaintops melts as the wind blows. The shining dust is magical this morning. Everything is glowing from the inside. The red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet arches over the valley. It is soon followed by hail. It is exhilarating and frightening. The mountain looks like a landscape painted with royal foliage and a perfectly blue sky. The beauty is intoxicating. I imagine dancers sprinkling snow on the peaks. Flurries rise up and circle in graceful turns. I sense fantastic power all around. I become aware of how small I am. Everything about this day is wild and beautiful and suggests I should predict the unpredictable. I call Glenda and say, this is the sort of day where anything could happen. I feel it would be good for me to come off the mountain I live on and go out tonight and dance and celebrate life. It is the best night out dancing I've ever had. My understanding of human nature takes a leap forward when I try something unusual on this special day. I invite the lusty men hovering on the periphery and the insecure women watching from the walls to dance. Instead of avoiding them all, I dance with them all at once, and then I dance away from them and let them dance with each other. They stop projecting hostility and lusty, jealous, competitive, and aggressive energy transforms into playful joy. I invite the dark into the light and everyone has fun. No one feels left out and I feel safe. While driving Glenda home after hours of blissful dancing and drinking only water, I feel great. I feel sure I should give her a driving lesson on what to do if you go into a skid because she's learning to drive. I begin by demonstrating pulling my feet back from the pedals so they cannot react and hit the brake and cause the vehicle to spin. I tell her, do nothing sudden. Do not hit the brakes, no jerking the steering wheel. Turn gently into the spin, don't panic. Move smoothly and do everything softly. Keep breathing, keep thinking. Dance gracefully through it. Stay light. Don't give in to fear, and it will all be okay. I am feeling it as I say it. It is like being on skates. You have to float and gently maneuver because you have no brakes when you are sliding on ice. We have to go with it and ever so softly. Do the best you can do until you have traction again to avoid hitting anything. I rehearse the moves like a dancer practices the choreography before a performance. I wonder if I'm terrifying her because of how real I'm making it, but I think she needs to know what a dangerous dance it can be. I need her to understand that lives are at stake. After dropping her off, I head toward my mountain home in light rain. I drive across the Golden Gate Bridge. I enter the tunnel above Sausalito, tired but happy. Halfway through the tunnel, I see a wall of white just outside the end of the tunnel, and I recognize it immediately. I move over one lane to the right and slow down as much as I can without letting any of the cars behind me crash into me. I can tell the cars behind me are unaware of what is awaiting us just outside the tunnel. We are all about to exit the tunnel into another world. The freak blizzard drops 6 inches of snow on top of black ice in 15 minutes. As soon as I leave the tunnel, I sense death is close by. I pull my feet back just as I demonstrated to Glenda. Cars are going sideways and backwards into the guardrail and the center concrete barrier. I feel the terror we all feel, and I know I have to focus on my breath and not let fear take over. Immediately I start chanting, keep breathing, keep choosing to protect all life. Keep breathing, keep choosing to protect all life. I keep saying it over and over, and it keeps me calm as I slip and slide. Then I remember what I said to Glenda less than an hour before I needed to hear it. As I pass vehicles spinning, sliding backwards, skidding sideways, rebounding off the median, I start feeling terror rising in my body, and I start chanting again, keep breathing, keep choosing to protect all life. I focus on hitting nothing, floating, gliding, skidding, and choosing a path through the chaos. As I climb an incline, my speed slightly decreases, as does the number of vehicles making it to this far before spinning out of control or hitting something to stop them. I begin to feel hopeful I will reach pavement and regain my ability to steer. I reach the summit of the hill and begin to pick up speed as I descend. My van is hydroplaning, skimming the water's surface on top of the ice with virtually no friction. No one can slow down. I'm the only one able periodically to steer. Everyone else is sliding out of control. Having no way to slow my vehicle down, it gets harder not to panic, and I chant louder, keep breathing, keep choosing to protect all life. Then I see my long departed mother out in front of me in the blizzard. She is made out of a cloud and is reaching her long, delicate fingers down to the icy freeway and gently sweeping a path for the spinning and sliding vehicles not to hit each other and clearing a safe passage for me. My feeling of panic turns to trust in inexplicable forces. I've just enough turning ability to take this safe path through the wreckage and chaos by making minor adjustments, and I continue past crashed vehicles one after another. Everything is moving in slow motion as I'm going downhill on the ice. My speed is still increasing. I see a wall of stopped cars spanning the entire freeway ahead. I have no way to slow down or go around the mangled vehicles. There is no way not to crash into the wall of twisted vehicles. The best I can do is choose the place I will hit metal where there won't be people behind doors. I pick a spot where two cars are facing each other with their front bumpers touching. I have so much time to think about death, and I have a thought. It would be ironic after the best night of dancing in my life if it is my last. I also think accidents are often started by intoxicated people who sometimes are too drunk to be afraid and can come out okay. And sober people like myself can end up hurt or killed because they tense up in fear. I decide to have a happy thought before I hit the wall. I do not want to be afraid or angry if it is my time. Grateful somehow I have the presence of mind and just enough steering not to crash into a door. If I have to go, I do not want to take anyone else with me. This thought makes me happy. It occurs to me that I did not tell Glenda what you do if you have no options. Let go. I imagine myself as a big rag doll in a bumper car game just before I gently steer toward the two front bumpers and turn my right front bumper to hit first. I close my eyes, go limp, and let go of the steering wheel. I recall a vision I had years before while fasting when I asked the ineffable, how can I survive? And a voice said, be the warrior ragdoll. Just before impact, I am going almost 60 miles an hour, and I know it could be my last thought, and I choose to feel grateful. I have almost finished the website of my art, and I trust my son will get it out to the world if I cannot. I become the warrior ragdoll who cannot be harmed by anyone who does not love her and will not be harmed by those who do. I hit the bumpers and they part. I passed through, and the two vehicles behind me passed through the opening I created and hit me, one after another. I smell what I think is fire, but it is propellant from the airbag. The front of my van is so torn apart, the metal carves into the ice, and it comes to a stop on the incline. I open my eyes and jump out of my van without turning off the engine. I get off the freeway and away from the path of the next vehicle to hit. As the next car crashes into the wall of stopped cars, the other people standing by the road scream. I do not scream, feeling I need to conserve my energy to get through this and help others. Once the terrible metal hitting metal sounds stop, I go to my van and get the 30 coats I have behind my van's back seat. I think about my son saying, "Why do you have so many jackets in your van?" Because you never know. Every time someone came up the mountain and left their coat, I would put it in my van. Now, an utterly unpredictable blizzard hits where no one has ever seen one before. Here I am with just enough jackets for all the women in skimpy outfits in shock in a snowstorm. Life can be perfect, even in its most painful moments. Adversity shows us the enormous resources within. The wall of metal was a mysterious portal, reminding me just how precious life is. I'm committed to turning everything to the good, especially the difficult, by learning from it. Watch over everyone. Give whatever you can, whether it is a coat, a calming word, a silent presence, or a reassuring touch. Most importantly, give to the givers. Mysteriously, I was prepared and guided through it and in a position to help others. It was an ordeal I am better for having gone through. Do not fear, but accept the unexpected could be just ahead. If a difficulty arises, keep breathing, keep choosing to protect all life, not just your own. And do not give up. If the unavoidable is in our path, no matter how hard, we must let go just before impact. 2 women died in the pileup. One died before I got there, and the second woman died in the arms of a young doctor who was also involved in the pileup. He came away from the group and was standing close to me when he called his mother. He wept, saying, "I couldn't help her. I did everything I was trained to do, but I couldn't help her." The incident manager arrived at the scene and was overwhelmed, pacing back and forth next to my van away from all the ambulances, fire trucks, and police cars. I put on one of my jackets and walked next to him saying, "None of us is prepared for this. There is no precedence, so there is no training, but we will figure it out together. I have jackets for every woman so that no one will get hypothermic." He turned and looked at me with a grateful but puzzled expression and then walked over to face the horror and do his job. The emergency responders didn't even have space blankets to give those who were not wearing enough clothes and had been drinking and were in shock. I walked around the outside of the group gathered in one place to assess who needed the jackets I had. I walked up behind the shivering women and put the coats over their shoulders. Each of them turned and looked at me surprised, like I was an angel. Some nodded, some gave me a tiny smile. A few whispered thank you, but most were too cold to speak. Those of us who were not injured were taken to the police station. I was taken in the last group many hours later, just before it got light. When I arrived, I noticed an exhausted priest who had been talking to people for hours. He came over to me looking distraught and exhausted. He asked, "How come you're not crying like everyone else?" I answered, "Because they need our help. I will cry later." He gave me a sweet little grin and said, "I needed that." Then I saw a fireman I recognized whimpering in the corner. I walked over to him and said, "You saved my son's life." "There were no children in the pileup," he said. "A few years ago, when my 14-year-old son and his friends tried liquor for the first time, my son was taken to the hospital. The police were not going to let me leave to be with him until you stepped up and took responsibility for the other boys. He had the highest blood alcohol the hospital emergency room had ever seen. He did not die, and I believe it was because I was there touching him and talking to him. Otherwise, he would have just slipped away. You saved his life. We cannot save everybody, but we can save some if we keep trying." He looked at me with sweet gratitude and came out of his despair about not being able to save either of the two women who died in the pileup. As I was leaving, I saw the young doctor who called his mother next to my van while we were waiting for the ambulances, and I said, "You did help her." He got angry and snapped back at me, "But she died." Yes, she did die, but she died in the arms of a kind stranger who risked his own safety to try to help her. She died feeling cared for. You did help her. His face softened as his anger turned to acceptance. He did what he could. He took a deep breath and said, "Thank you." I cried for hours once home, recalling every moment of the dangerous dance, slipping and sliding, and somehow passing through a wall of stopped cars at almost 60 miles an hour, unharmed. Then I remembered being a very young child and asking the divine to let me pass through the wall. I would bump into the wall over and over until I stopped asking for proof of the existence of the ineffable. Now, I wondered if I could have known at some point I would need to pass through the wall. I laughed, thinking about me as a little girl, trying to get the divine to demonstrate its power on command. Did some benevolence in the universe grant my request? Not when I wanted it, but when I needed it. I'm comfortable with not knowing. Gratitude that I did pass through the wall is enough. Wow. Bodhi said, thank you. Bodhi, my son, is, I let people suggest what story I read because otherwise it's nerve-wracking, and I want to go into it just as relaxed as possible. So now we're going to, I'm going to show you the piece of art that's after that story in the book.
Sharon Miller said, "Heart, heart, heart, heart."
Thank you, Sharon. Thanks for being here. Happy New Year. Heart, 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 heart back to you.
And
So this is Three Palms Vineyard.
that's in the book right after that story.
Yes. And the art has almost in no cases a literal connection to the stories. It's just a moment to deep breathe. And most of my stories, like life, we can learn the most through the hardest stuff we go through, and that's what can help others the most. So there's a lot of hard stuff in my book. That's what deepened me. So I like to put the art as a moment to just let it all go. And
Nina Preheim, or is it Nina? I'm sorry, I can't. Sorry for if I mispronounced your name. She said, "Happy New Year, Claire and Bodhi. You are brave and talented and share those qualities. Thank you." And she wrote, "That was a great story for New Year's Eve."
Thank you very much. And yeah, Bodhi picked it because it's snow, there's ice, and people drink here. Well, they drink everywhere. And so be careful. And life is precious, and we are strong and equally delicate. So be careful with yourself and others. And hopefully we'll all get through it safely. And
And plus, it's about going from one end of the tunnel to the other. You know, the new year.
that's right. And it's going through the portal from and predicting the unpredictable and being as ready as we can be by getting enough rest, getting enough nutrition, love. So
Pamela Carbon said, "I'm a latecomer today. Happy New Year, beautiful."
thank you very, very much. Nice to see you. Nice to know you're there. It's funny, I feel like I can see all of you. And well, I am a very visual person, and I've seen pretty much all of you on social media. So you're in my heart, you're in my mind, and Happy New Year, Pamela, and everybody else. And there's some questions.
Yeah, well, we got a few on the same subject matter, which is interesting. So, Fran asked, why Duluth? You said in a previous read you chose Duluth out of the country. What were your reasons?
Well, my father was born here. I first came when I was 18 out of curiosity, and I fell in love with how people are toward each other here. And so I came back to see the friends I had met. And I didn't think I was going to ever make it my home because I was born in the desert, and I'm used to warm, and I was a vegetarian vegan back then and couldn't even get enough vegetables through a winter. So I didn't think it was going to be my home until 9 people in one day asked me to teach and said, you'll never live anywhere where you'll be more appreciated than here. And I was hired by the Board of Education and hospitals and drug rehab to teach my own curriculum, which was so deeply rewarding and gratifying that it nourished me, but I couldn't get enough vegetarian food at the time. So I had to leave because I was getting six dance classes I was teaching a day, and I was getting too skinny. But when 8 years ago now, it was time to leave California, and my son asked me to work with him, so we knew we were going to pick a place. I decided to spend a year before picking a new home, so we traveled the whole country, 22,000 miles, 40 states, to really take our time to pick. Duluth was my first choice, but I knew he had to pick it too, on his own, for us to be happy, for him to be happy here. So I was absolutely thrilled when he picked it too, because as I said earlier, he said, you didn't exaggerate, people are as nice as you said they were. And the appreciation for nature, the appreciation for creativity. So the humble excellence of the community here, the extraordinary generosity, the power of the lake, the accessibility of nature so close by, and we found this beautiful, he found it actually, the Emerald Lady, and it had been on the market for 10 years because nobody wanted to do this, the amount of work we did. Polishing the Emerald Lady is on Mother Son Productions. Us restoring this house ourselves, we could afford it because of the amount of deferred maintenance no one else wanted to do or pay someone else to do. We did. So cost of living is also in there with appreciation for the arts and nature humble, but worldly people here. And so that's a lot of reasons, but
That's a lot of
they're
good
all
reasons.
real.
Yeah. And she also asked, why did you choose the Emerald Lady, which you answered there.
Oh, good.
Here.
Yeah.
Go like that.
So,
And so in the last 4 minutes,
4 minutes.
Kelly F asked, how did you choose the name, the Emerald Lady?
Bodie named the Emerald Lady because the shingles that are on this over 100-year-old building have been emerald from the very beginning. And so he looked at the house and said, the Emerald Lady, and that's been her name ever since. So there we go.
Great. And then just doing one last check. Looks like we got back to everybody's questions. So let's do the last.
Yeah, well, thank you. Happy New Year, everybody. May you have lots to be grateful for and lots to look forward to in this next year. It's been a very challenging time for all of us, but these virtual visit live reads have been a blessing in my life because I feel like even with social distancing, and we're novids, so we're staying very safe, but we're staying serene and connecting with you every Saturday at 2 for my live reads and 4 for Bodie's from his completely different sci-fi thriller, Northport 1999. And I'm going to keep going with these live reads even after the grant period because, well, I love it. I love feeling connected to you and how economical and ecological it is to connect this way. And thanks again to the Minnesota State Arts Board for awarding me a grant to do this. And thank you all for being here. And what I'm not good at is promoting myself. And so I really appreciate you telling other people. And I put the book out there and Face My Fear to share my truth to help others because people have told me it helped them. And so let's spread the love. And if you know someone who would appreciate these reads, they can see them anytime. They don't have to tune into the live. And if you know someone that, well, needs the book or would appreciate the book but can't afford it, get in touch with me and we'll figure out a way to get it to them because that's why we published it. So.
Yeah, and also if you've gotten the book, go to Amazon or Goodreads. I think also Google has reviews. But yeah, leave a review of the book on Amazon or Goodreads or any place you can. That certainly helps. And just sharing it on social media means a lot too.
Yeah, we are the DIY Not Duo. We do everything ourselves. It's just us, and we're not hiring publicists or any of that kind of stuff. And partly it's just fills my heart to know that we can help each other do things that make the world a better place. And that's what it's time for. So thank you, and I will see you next Saturday, and I really appreciate you being here and sharing the Creativity Show and these live reads. And meanwhile, Happy New Year and stay curious and creative. Love you.
All right, ending the live videos. Bye.